You want to know how I got these scars?
Enlighten me.
Acne. Yeah, I just can't stop picking at it.
American Pickers over here.
American Picker is what they call me.
Yeah, what would that's your villain name, the American Picker.
The American Picker. And I come up behind you and I find a nice juicy blackhead on the back of your shoulder and I just start going at it.
You go at it, but you also have like a pickaxe with you, so once you're done with them, you just kill them.
Wait, that would actually be kind of dope, like a giant staff, but it looks like those pimple popper tools that are like a little, like a little loop, you know, and you like press it down, but I have like one the size of a scythe.
Yeah.
And scything through back knee. That's my caped crusader. I'm the tweezered crusader.
That feels like more of like one of those ones that would have shown up in Suicide Squad. Would have been great.
Corked up.
Yes. Would have been a great character for that.
Corked up Gen Z superhero who's really into skincare. The Slug, we could call her, perhaps. I'm pitching that. That's my pitch. Well, Warner Brothers is now owned by Paramount Skydance, so maybe if I can get David Ellison on the phone, he can hear me out about the Slug, and maybe I can talk him into stop sending so much money to Israel.
Yeah. Well, he certainly listens to this podcast, so I think we'll get to him pretty soon.
Our prime demographic, billionaires who love Israel. Anyways, sorry to open the pod on such juicy and erratic of a note, but hi. Welcome. You're listening to The Swamp. It's our podcast, and it is an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
It's an acronym. I try to do Heath Ledger Joker, and then I end up in this sort of cycle between Owen Wilson. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What does Owen Wilson always say? Wow. No, it's just wow. People always say wow.
Oh, yeah, wow.
So
wow.
That's Owen Wilson, but then it lives in the same space as Jennifer Coolidge, right?
Yes.
Makes me want a hot dog real bad. Like, it's Joker, it's Jennifer, it's Lightning McQueen. I feel like you need to just a dialect coach.
It's the same thing as razor blades. Like, you just need to like find your sort of, wow to get yourself into it. As much as it is Owen Wilson, Jennifer Coolidge, like, I can do impressions of them. I can't do a good Heath Ledger Joker. You know what I mean?
Well, you don't even like this movie, so how about you start off by shutting the fuck up?
I know, I did pick this movie.
Not gonna be nice to you this week. Yeah, our theme of the month.
That's okay. This is good for us. We rarely ever disagree, so I think some adversity between views will be good. But so this month we've decided to do sort of our DVD hits, what you need to have in your DVD collection. I pulled this one from mine, and it's one that I haven't seen in a long time. I think like since like college, pre-college, I'm not really sure. So it's been like at least like 5+ years. And additionally, I've never seen Batman Begins, or I don't think I've totally seen the one after this as well with Anne Hathaway and Bane. I only
The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes, The Dark Knight Rises. I only ever watched this as a standalone movie. And I think it was one of those things that I was like, oh, well, it's The Dark Knight. I have to have it in my collection, which, don't get me wrong, I am glad I have it in my collection. But I do not think it is the 4.5 stars that I used to have it on my Letterboxd.
You were swayed by the public opinion, and now you're coming to realize that maybe you were not enjoying it as much as you thought you were.
Yes. I think I have become my own film watcher. And I'm glad to know that Jen also sits with me on this, because she has this rated 2 stars on Letterboxd. So
yeah, Jen doesn't really like anything that's too
also true,
upsettingly violent. So that sort of negates most movies. But I love this movie. I love this trilogy. I have the boxed set of the trilogy of DVDs in my collection as well. We're celebrating physical media this month. I just got a Blu-ray player. I had an old DVD player, but then I was like, I should start getting into collecting Blu-rays. And there are a lot of good resale websites like Thrift Books and eBay, where you can find people selling huge bundles of DVDs. There are blind boxes that are estate sale.
Fuck yeah.
This person had hundreds of Blu-rays, we'll send you 10 random ones for $1. Like literally you can get really cheap DVDs. I think it's starting to actually come up on the uptick because like physical media is like trendy now to, you know, collecting stuff is like recently because everyone is becoming more aware that if, you know, one person controls the entire media, they get to decide what you do and don't see. And they can also change shit, and especially in times of war and in times of fascism, they like to control the media, control the news. That's what they're doing by buying Warner Brothers Discovery. They want to control CNN. They now turned the 5 major film studios into 4 major film studios. It's just limiting diverse perspectives. It's fucked up. Obviously, going out and buying a bunch of DVDs is not the solution to this, but I've been thinking, what are some things that they might take away or change, right? And if everything is in this cloud, is in this streaming, they can yank whatever they want and make it inaccessible. So
anytime.
Like things like the Dark Knight trilogy, I'm like, gotta have my box set, I guess.
Well, it's the same thing,
you know,
as,
in
like,
case they just make it unavailable for, you know, whatever reason they think it's promoting something that they don't agree with.
We brought up Pirates of the Caribbean like last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that, and just like editing out minor instances of violence is just so damaging to the just film in general, and it's not like something that it just flies under the radar until someone actually realizes it and figures it out. And so I don't know, it makes me feel, and it's gonna sound stupid to say, it makes me feel a little safer knowing that, God forbid, I'll still have these movies. If everything goes to shit, like I'll still have like something to, you know, watch because and make me happy.
There may come a time where we have to rely on people's private collections of information to get to the truth, which is a really scary thought. But I guess before we get into the movie, the whole like big picture of this Paramount Skydance merger that's happening, if you're not aware, it just went through. It was like Netflix was bidding to buy it, bidding against it, but then they didn't get it, and Paramount Skydance ends up buying Warner Brothers Discovery, HBO, which all subsidiaries include like DC Comics, CNN, Showtime, Comedy Central, just a vast swath of the media landscape is all being merged and conglomerated, specifically under the CEO chairman leadership of David Ellison, who is the son of Larry Ellison, who is the chairman, CEO, founder of Oracle. And Oracle is a cloud computing digital storage giant, pretty much, who has government contracts.
I use it at work.
Owns the American part of TikTok. Government, media, social media. Oracle has got their hands in so much, and it is so incredibly fucked up to think that my HBO data and my Medicare data are living in the same space, and that they're going to use that information to try to target ads, surveillance state. Very scary.
Oh, entirely.
Also, like the merger is also being funded by Saudi Arabia too. I'm learning that all the time. Every time this continues to pass, I'm learning more about it, and I'm like, what the fuck, is that true? And then you look and it is, and it's very scary. So I guess just continue to inform yourself on the media you're consuming and where it's coming from and who's in charge, because that really makes a difference. And now we can talk about the movie. So
we just had to get that out of the way first.
Oh, but also the Department of Justice, this deal hasn't been closed yet. The Department of Justice, our government, has to approve it. And the people who are currently in power would favor this. It behooves them. It's going to make them more money. It's going to make their rich friends more money. So I don't see why they wouldn't pass it, but I'm hoping that there's such an outcry from the public being like, this is wrong. This is unconstitutional. This is white-collar crime.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would listen to us. They don't.
No,
but
exactly.
I'm going to keep talking about it so they know that I'm unhappy. My one citizenship is protesting this.
Hey, we need someone to do it, honestly.
But my transition here is going to be that billionaire Bruce Wayne is using his own private surveillance state to monitor the citizens of Gotham and the globe, ? He does like international espionage and goes to China and kidnaps a CEO using cell phone sonar or fucking whatever in this movie. So surveillance state Batman coming to a head in The Dark Knight 2008, which is, I guess, a good way to start the catalyst of like, Batman is pretty morally ambiguous as a character, and in this movie specifically, in the trilogy, it's like movie 1, can totally be a standalone film, like as was your experience with it. Movie 1, you get the Batman origin story, which everyone knows. It's like, we don't even need to make superhero origin movies anymore because it is common knowledge. It is public domain. We don't need to see Uncle Ben get shot, and I respect Marvel for not making Tom Holland act that scene.
But like, so it's basically he just goes to ninja school, right? He goes to ninja school and like becomes this entity, and obviously I know Scarecrow is in the first movie because you kind of get that tie-in the beginning of this one. Yeah,
he's kind of the main villain in movie 1. It's like it's always about like organized crime in the city of Gotham, but then they pepper in the like actual villainous, like cartoonish comic booky villain. So it's like Scarecrow is there trying to put fear toxins in the water main, and Batman has to deal with that while also being like, and there's crime on the streets. Because the ninja school that Batman went to is run by this guy named Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's al Ghul wants to see Gotham fall. So the League of Shadows is what they're called. Yeah, Liam Neeson wants to see, which is actually kind of a spoiler, I guess, spoiler for all the Dark Knight movies, as is custom here, but they want to see Gotham fall, and then Batman gets trained by them, and they're like, you have to kill people. And Batman's like, actually, it turns out you don't have to kill people. If you have $1 billion and a moral compass, you can just tie guys up and leave them to the police, which is having a lot of faith in the justice system, Batman.
Well, exactly. And this movie touches on a lot.
But he doesn't like to kill. He doesn't use guns. He only uses his personal brigade of equipment to enhance his vigilante justice that he does. And then that gets us into this movie, though. So at the end of movie 1, A Batman Begins, they tease the Joker. They're like, and there's this other guy who's leaving a calling card, and it's a Joker card. And then it cuts, and that's the end, right? So that movie comes out in 2005. And then we get all this anticipation for, will there be a sequel? Everyone very responded well to Batman Begins. It made a lot of money. Christopher Nolan is a genius. I am a fan of his, sort of begrudgingly. It's very like bro-y, sort of, I feel, to really love Christopher Nolan. And he certainly has his spots that I don't love. Like Dunkirk was really not for me, but on you don't like whole, a war movie. I have to say, probably one of my favorite directors. I've seen, I think, like almost, 90% of, I think I'm omitting like 1 or 2 from his works.
Tenet. I know you're sitting on Tenet still.
I haven't seen Tenet, and then there's like, I think there's like an Al Pacino one I haven't seen.
Following?
I have not seen that one. The Dark Knight is undoubtedly my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, probably my favorite superhero movie. I would put in the realm of like favorite action movie, maybe. It's really up there for me. I think there's a lot of nostalgia for me tied to it. My older cousin Erin, who's been on the pod a couple of times, is a staunch Batman fan, like across the board, loves all Batman media, but specifically this franchise, right? This came out in 2005, 8, and 12. So, and she's
I'm sure
probably 10 years older than me. So very formative.
And
then, she sort of introduced me to it. And so I was really into it because it's dark and gritty. But on the whole, people do make a good point generally that the Nolan Batman movies unfortunately set this weird precedent in the action movie, superhero movie landscape that like everything has to be really dark and serious. And specifically for Batman, it was like it used to be when it was Tim Burton, when it was the cartoons, when it was the other. Yeah, it was much more lively.
Yeah. You got nipples on the bat suit.
Quirky, yeah. And Christopher Nolan is like, no, this is very grounded. Gotham feels like a real place. It is, it is very much taking place in a reality that feels close to our own and dealing with, the sort of issues that feel a bit, more grounded. And then Zack Snyder comes in and is like, okay, so that's what people like. And it's like, it wasn't just that made people like the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. Also, that's just kind of Christopher Nolan's style across the board, is always very dark and serious.
It's brooding.
So don't think that you can just take that and replicate its success, because the Zack Snyder movies are a joke to me.
Well, here's my thing, because the new Batman with Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves directed it, even more dark and moody and brooding than these ones. And I really, really like that one. I think that's the one that I attach myself to in regards to Batman as opposed to this one.
Have you watched the Penguin show?
I watched like a couple episodes. I think I watched like 2 or 3 episodes, and then I kind of fell off because it was long. But I know it is good. I just didn't, I wasn't feeling the mob.
I haven't seen it, and like, why do I feel I'm such a cinephile that I feel like having a TV spinoff like kind of cheapens your movie?
Absolutely.
I don't know why I feel that way, but I really liked the Robert Pattinson Batman reboot, and I thought that what is his name, Matt Reeves, he sort of took that dark noir seriousness of Christopher Nolan, but also like breathed a little bit more life into Gotham. Gotham felt like more of a character in itself, whereas in these Christopher Nolan movies, it's like that could just be New York. Like it is. Gotham is not as specific of its own place to like be as impactful of a setting as I think the new movies and the older movies had done with the city. But instead, these movies sort of choose to focus on like the deep internal conflict that Bruce Wayne is feeling, balancing this billionaire playboy persona, right, to distract the public, and then being Batman and having the city's justice in your hands solely, right? But then it's like, who is Bruce Wayne? And I don't think we get as much Bruce Wayne in these movies either as Robert Pattinson gave us in the new one, that it was like you did see more of that middle internal conflict of like,
absolutely,
I am trying to balance this thing and it's a struggle, whereas we're often just seeing Christian Bale kick ass and put on a show.
Well, that's my whole thing about this is like he seems so unaffected by everything, even when Rachel dies. In this, you get maybe one scene of him being like, what have I done? Kind of shit. And it's not even that dramatic, and you don't really feel it. Like, you don't get that sort of emotional side of Batman, which I think is like and I'm not a fan of the comic books or anything like that. I can't pretend to say I know like a hell of a lot of the lore or anything like that, but Batman does come off to me as like, and maybe this is just my bias not having seen the Robert Pattinson one, but like very moody. This does feel
I think
very.
That's the point.
I don't know. Like Christian Bale's performance does feel very sterile to me, and I think that that's just part of the capitalism aspect in this movie, because it touches a lot on that. I think we get really into like obvious, which I don't think there was a way to do this movie without it, because you have like the big mechs and everything like that, and all of his cool gadgets and everything like that, and obviously you need to have the foil of like Morgan Freeman with all of his tech and everything like that. But it just feels like very I don't know. I guess sterile is the only way that I can put it. But
I disagree. I feel like I find that I see Batman's emotions in myself as the viewer. Like, I don't need him to be telling me how that character is feeling, because I myself am feeling it for him, right? It's like, damn, that is an incredibly difficult situation. And this movie's all about trolley problems, right? It's like Batman just keeps having to do the trolley problem over and over and over. And you're like, oh my God, again. And that's the whole thing, is that he's given these choices. And the theme is that there's no right choice, that they could both be bad, and that everything is random because evil is chaotic. And he's trying to execute organized crime, right? Or organized crime in an organized way, and then here comes the Joker to upset all this. And like the point of the movie that really hits for me is Alfred, sort of Jiminy Cricket inner voice Alfred being like, we burnt down the forest to get the jewel thief. And it's like, if some men just want to watch the world burn, you have to burn the world too to stop him.
Yeah.
And is that the right choice? And that's what Batman is always, you know, does he burn Gotham to the ground to get to the bad guys?
Yeah.
And he is holding that, you know, moral weight constantly. And he's not always making the right choices. And he is like abusing his power, right? At the beginning of the movie,
entirely.
we get, he's busting up this deal going on between Scarecrow and some mobsters. And he comes in and there are all these fake Batmans who are like imposters dressing up, showing up to crime scenes to try to like kick ass, right? And they're using guns. And that's how everyone knows that they're not real Batmans, because Batman doesn't use guns. And he stops the crime and he ties all the fake Batmans up too. And as he's leaving, one of the guys is like, well, what's the difference between you and me? You know, I'm out here trying to stop it too. Like what's the problem? And he's like, I'm not wearing hockey pads. But like that is the difference is he's like, I have $1 billion. So I get to do this. And you as a, you know, lower class person or just not a billionaire, you do not. And I think that is a clear message about what's going on in these movies. It's like, yes, he is a billionaire, but I think he recognizes that he has to use his money to do this because other people, the lower class, cannot. They simply do not have the resources to have a Batmobile and a mech to chase the Joker down. It's just unrealistic. But then again, it's like, and then you're also burning the city and the people are being affected by it. So
I think
morally gray for Batman, which I really like. And I think this movie, are you going to say it's too long?
No, I really like just about every other character besides Batman. I'm obviously, I really, really love, I mean, like, I think that if you, the reason to watch this movie is Heath Ledger. Obviously, I don't think anyone would ever disagree with that. But like in my opinion, he makes it, and it is certainly a performance of a lifetime. He becomes that character.
Not his lifetime, like all of our lifetimes all of American cinema. I don't think anyone has ever met what he did, and he's my favorite actor. So I'm so biased,
of course.
And I don't even, this isn't even like my favorite movie of his, but I do recognize that he totally turned the world upside down with this performance, especially because the public really pushed back against his casting. They were like, he's the Joker?
The handsome man?
Like
the beautiful handsome man?
Like pretty Australian boy from Brokeback Mountain is gonna be the Joker. Like that. It's a terrible choice.
Entirely.
And then he set the bar where I'm like, I don't think they should make Joker media. Like barring animation. I think animated, like The Killing Joke and video games and stuff like that, that's different. But like live action portrayals of the Joker will simply never compare.
If they actually put Barry Keoghan on my screen like that, it's going to piss me off, honestly. I just know it. He's been pissing me off.
Wait,
but
do your best impression of Sabrina Carpenter and ask me who the Joker is.
Who's the Joker?
He's sort of like an evil person. Do you know that tweet? Do you know that tweet? I think, oh my God, I sent it to you. I sent it to you before we recorded so that you would be privy to my joke. It's, those who know. But,
oh God.
But yeah, whatever. Barry Keoghan Batman, or Barry Keoghan Joker, like whatever. Fuck Jared Leto, fuck Joaquin Phoenix, God. And especially I want to say like anyone who plays the Joker and makes a big public note of saying that they're method acting and going dark and shit like that is gross.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call you out for that shit because Heath Ledger died in 2008. This movie came out in July and he died in January. So he had just passed away 6 months before the release of this film. And it was a big thing that he got a posthumous Oscar. And it was sort of like the last big thing. But it did put a big light onto a lot of misconception that he died because of this movie, or that, you know, playing the Joker put him in a bad mental state that led to his overdose, and all of that is just like really untrue. And it was all the stories about him like going method and stuff, or like a lot of people took clips of Aaron Eckhart and Christian Bale talking about how Heath would be really in character and would be muttering to himself and would be acting like the Joker on set. But there are also videos of him like skateboarding out back. Like when they were saying he was method acting, that was like on set when it was time to be acting, not like 24/7 locking himself in a trailer, sending people dead animals. That's not what that fucking means. And I think that there's
slipping into character.
There's such a gross misconception about acting and what it takes to give a big good performance. And I feel like all these men are like coming up with all these weird ways to abuse people and be super fucking rude under the guise of it like helping them be a better actor.
Instead of being able to be vulnerable because it's too embarrassing, or whatever Kristen Stewart said.
Yeah, and to quote the great Kristen Stewart, acting, what did she say? Like acting is inherently feminine, or
something like that. But of course, on top of Heath Ledger's performance, I was really impressed with, I don't know the actor's name off the top of my head, but Harvey Dent. I really liked watching that story unfold with this one, because I too would go crazy if I heard my wife get blown up.
And the half blown off face is like the closest thing to like a kitschy kind of cartoony, like the Joker is of course all about jokes and setups and big stunts and pranks and stuff, but Heath Ledger is very scary. And even though he has lines that are very funny, he's very scary. So the half blown off face and his fucking eyeball like moving around in that socket. I love the way this movie looks, and all of the practical stunts they did and the action sequences, I think, are some of the best ever put to film. But I love the way his half-burnt face looks. It's so gratifying.
Yeah, it is. I did really enjoy that. And it is, of course, I think this movie came kind of at the peak of what I think the peak of CGI was in the 2000s, where I'm not saying it looks exactly perfect. God, no. But like, it passes. It certainly passes, and I'm not mad about it 20 years later.
You celebrate Harvey Dent's performance, and I will say Aaron Eckhart does a great job in this movie, but we're about a half hour in, so I'm just gonna
say it.
Take my little corner to call out shitty men, because I don't forget.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay.
You know, if you want to say that I'm obsessed with cancel culture and that it's negative and that people grow and change and that things that happened a long time ago, like people can grow and learn and be forgiven. Like, yeah, all of that is true, right? But I just think if we hold men as accountable to their past actions as we do to women, and
for any actions ever,
for literally anything, like a actress can wear an ugly dress and then it will define her career, and a man can beat his wife and then win an Oscar the next year. I'm just trying to level the scales a little bit by just reminding everyone that Gary Oldman, domestic abuser.
Fuck Gary Oldman. He's not good in this movie. He slips out of his accent constantly.
Oh, I'm like, why is he British? Yeah, I'm like, literally, are you British? To pause on shitty men. To pause on shitty men, I always forget that Christian Bale is like not just British, but like Cockney British, like governor, like type accent. And I've been seeing him in press for The Bride, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I'm always like, oh my god, maybe you are the greatest actor alive, because I just cannot believe he's constantly hiding that accent.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. No, I'm excited for The Bride. It's been getting like really shitty reviews by men, so I know it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be insane.
I saw somebody try to make the argument that Jessie Buckley's performance is so bad that it's going to lose her the Oscar. for Hamnet, like that the
Shut up. The
recency bias of the bride. Yeah, that the recency bias of the bride is going to ruin her Oscar choices. I'm like, first of all, that's not true. And second of all, actors do this all the time. No one's saying that Wuthering Heights is worsening Jacob Elordi's chances.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Again, the misogyny.
Again, holding people accountable. So I didn't know that Morgan Freeman had to make a public apology in 2018 because so many women came forward from the set of Now You See Me Too, saying that he was just like making incredibly sexual and inappropriate comments. And his apology is so like
I'm an old man.
Shitty too. Like those who work with me know I'm not like this kind of thing.
Oh,
like,
fuck you.
You know, all but denying it. But it was like 20 women or something were all
That's
like
absurd.
Morgan Freeman was being fucking creepy to me at work. So Morgan Freeman shitty, and to get to my point, Aaron Eckhart, who plays Harvey Dent in this movie, faced a lawsuit against Abigail Breslin. I don't know if we talked about this on our Zombieland episode a little bit, but Abigail Breslin, notable child actress.
Yes.
She was in Little Miss Sunshine and Zombieland, and she was very successful. But then as she stopped being a child, she got kind of put into this precocious kid box. And once she was an adult woman, she was not really getting cast in things as much, and it was really sort of shitty for her. But he was so rude, and Going Method was basically the story of he was method acting, and that he was being so violently aggressive and inappropriate to her that she filed a lawsuit about it, and then the film production backed him and said that she was hysterical, and basically did the classic like emotional woman couldn't understand, you know, boundaries kind of thing, and basically pinned it on her. And I don't know if she's like acted since. Really, she has pretty much left the industry for, I know there was just recently a Little Miss Sunshine like reunion, and she was there. But yeah, he was so shitty to her that she left the town. So fuck all these men.
No, for real. Oh my god.
As I talk for an hour about how much I love this movie,
really,
you know, let us not forget also where it comes from. But
yeah, can I make on the as someone who's sort of pushing back. I'm taking a stand this week. Do you not feel like the editing in this movie is crazy? Because watching this movie made me feel insane. It was like there's this scene with where Alfred and Rachel, it's their last scene together, and she gives him the note, basically. I swear to God, Dara, it was like worse than Bohemian Rhapsody ass editing. Like the cuts back and forth.
Too many cuts, you're saying?
6,000 cuts in the span of 30 seconds. And additionally, I think watching this, every single scene felt like it started 10 seconds in to the scene already, and that Christopher Nolan was like cutting for time. The jumps between things are so abrupt. I found it really, the moving from one thing to the next thing was so fast that I was like racing to keep up with what was happening.
Yeah, I don't agree with you. And I would be like hard pressed to think of any scenes from this movie I would cut. Like, I know there's a lot
I don't think there's any scenes I would cut. I just think that it's like, I don't know, like
change.
Well, it just genuinely.
I think the story is not hard to follow. I feel like we already kind of know these characters, so you don't have to tell me who they are.
It's usually the crime bosses that I feel like I got more like tricky with when they would come in, because obviously like you know the Joker and everything like that, but. Anyways, maybe that's me needing to watch Batman Begins as well. Obviously, I love the big shooting scene with the funeral shooting scene is phenomenal. I mean, like, you watch this movie for Heath Ledger and the action scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say my favorite is like the car chase sequence in the tunnel where Harvey Dent is like, I'm Batman. And then they're like, we got to take you into custody right now. And they put him in the truck.
Yes,
and then
exactly
the Joker
what I was thinking of, yeah.
is chasing it. It's like, you know, the gunshots turn into like blasts, and then he takes out the bazooka, and there's all those iconic lines that are like, I didn't sign up for this shit. And like kind of corny humor that really works for me in that setting, because it is so like intense and high stakes that, again, I think a lot of movie producers, writers in the future like took the wrong lesson from that and started doing like quippy one-liners in their this is a really rough day on the job, like kind of shit where it's like, no.
It's like, no, you need to balance it. That's what it's there for.
You have to raise the stakes to the point where the corny line is funny because he's getting shot at with a bazooka.
No, speaking of corny, though, I did find that opening courtroom scene where he takes out the gun and tries to shoot Harvey exceptionally corny. And I think that's, there are a couple of instances like that in this movie for me. Where sometimes it works, sometimes it really works because like there's the when the what was he like the old mayor or something like that when it gets poisoned by the glass or whatever, and then you go and you switch to the glass.
So that's
the commissioner. Like that with like once the glass is on the table, it's smoking so that you know it was poisonous and everything like that.
I love it. No, what do you mean? I love it. No, but that importantly was the commissioner because Gary Oldman was Lieutenant Gordon, and then the commissioner gets killed and he becomes Commissioner Gordon, which is the title of the character. I would say people like throughout Batman would refer to him as like being Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, you asked me specifically though to make a note of my DVD experience for this.
Yes. So my box set is super old and is just DVDs, so not Blu-rays or anything. So it's like old DVDs, a little crunchy on my Blu-ray player. And did you have any ads like pre-DVD? And so what is yours also just a DVD?
Mine was freshly like still wrapped. This is the first time this has ever been played, I think. But so I had first of all, an ad for Batman Begins, and then also the Arkham Asylum game. I had an ad for that, and Watchmen, which I thought was really like all of it really tied together very well and made sense. And I did it did I don't know. It's a lost art, I guess, in like advertising wise, because looking back, I'm like, yes, every single thing that they put in here beforehand still makes sense today. Do you know what I mean?
What, like that they chose relevant things to put before Batman?
I guess so. Because I think sometimes it's very like hit or miss, and you're like, why the fuck was that like before this?
Well, so mine were so funny. So I also had the Blu-ray ad by Batman Begins, which I thought was a nice little recap of Batman Begins.
I did appreciate
that. To do before, your Dark Knight experience. So I did like that. I also had the Watchmen movie trailer and the Arkham Asylum video game. But I also, the first ad I had was Casablanca, like a scene from Casablanca, like intercut with text to be about anti-piracy. I think so. It was like you also had this?
I think so. Yeah.
Bitch, I told you to take notes.
I'm sorry.
What do you
that
mean?
One, listen.
Make note of the ads before your DVD. I wanted to know if ours were the same or not. And
I also had an anti-smoking ad that Lauren...
Yes, California Department of Public Health anti-smoking. Yes, so ours must have been exactly the same.
Yeah, sorry. I missed the Casablanca one. I was still getting settled.
I was curious about that. And then I loved on the DVD menu, when you hit play movie, it cut to a clip of Heath Ledger as the Joker saying, "And here we go," like from the movie, like before, which I feel like is also a lost art. I feel like that was such a thing, right? Like a little like celebratory you hit play clip from the film. So good. That struck me right in my expanding my DVD collection bag.
I don't know. Watching this, it did feel very like. Do you know if they ever did like video game spin-offs? I think that's unlikely for Christopher Nolan, but it does. I think it's just the amount of action scenes and how good it is. It does give me like video game a little bit.
Well, people often forget this. Christopher Nolan does not own the rights to Batman.
That is true.
The Dark Knight is not the only Batman that there is. Batman is a whole franchise, and any video game they make about Batman is referential to Batman on the whole. So I don't think there was any video games that came out specifically like for this movie. But, there's a myriad of Batman and DC comic video games
coming out around the same time anyways, so I'm sure that kind of scooped everyone up in the same pile. But also, can I say one thing in terms of, I'm trying to give my strikes here for this. The way, not only did Gary Oldman slip out of his accent so many times, the way that I don't know if it was just like the sound mixing flubbed, but like the man, and I'm sure it was a character choice or whatever, the mumbling that he did, I couldn't understand his lines for like the first like 30 minutes of the movie because it was
Gary Oldman.
Yes. Oh my God. There was a scene where he was talking to Harvey Dent in his office and it sounded like he just had marbles in his mouth. I couldn't understand what he was saying. It was so quiet. I was just like, all right, I guess it's going to be the whole movie.
I didn't make particular note of that, but obviously, yeah, like nothing but criticisms on Gary Oldman, who brings almost nothing to this role. Like, trying to be unbiased in my review of his performance in this movie specifically, I just think the Gordon character is pretty uninteresting, and the whole, like, at the end where his kids have been taken hostage and he's like begging for their life and stuff, it's just, I'm sort of over it at that point. I didn't really care for him or his scenes or what he added to this film, I guess. But also fuck Christopher Nolan's inability to portray women, because I feel like he is known for being bad at this. And I can't just say, like, he's bad at it in every movie, so it's excusable. Like, it is pretty inexcusable that you just leave half of the population out of your worldview, like, so clearly. But the Rachel character, I do kind of, I partially take issue with, yet I recognize the position that she plays for us to understand Batman more, which for a woman to just be, like, held hostage so that we feel more sympathy for the hero is, like, totally not a representation of any kind. She's, like, literally just there to have violence done upon her. But it's interesting because Katie Holmes plays Rachel in movie 1, and then she didn't sign on for movie 2, and they replace her with Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Interesting.
So we get an actress switch, but honestly, I would say that the character is so, like, stagnant and kind of underwritten that it doesn't even matter that she's a whole entirely new person, because she just, like, never really has a personality to begin with.
Sure.
The backstory we get is that her parents were employees of the Wayne family. Like, they worked in the house or something, because they have, like, literal fucking servants. The way I'm like, Bruce, stop making Alfred bring you breakfast. Like, stop having him be your manservant. You're woke enough to go fight crime, but you're not woke enough to let this old man rest. I guess
for real.
Alfred needs to be there to keep Batman in check. He needs to be there to burn the letter. So I
think Alfred also wouldn't leave if he told him to. So, you know, or, like, relax if he told him to. So
she's supposed to be his, like, childhood friend.
Yes.
Right? So they show us clips in movie 1 of them, like, growing up together.
Yeah,
and
he
then
falls
being
in the well with the bats.
really close. Yep. And then they sort of depart, and then he becomes Batman, and then he comes back and he realizes he has to sort of put on this persona to deflect, you know, any suspicion about Batman. So she's seeing him and he's, like, being really shitty and has all these models. And movie 1 sort of gets at, like, him loving her so much that he can't keep this secret from her. He's like, I hate that you see me as everyone else sees me and not as I truly am. So that's why she's privy to him being Batman in movie 2 a little bit more. But then Maggie Gyllenhaal is just there to be, like, a Sophie's choice between Batman and Harvey Dent.
Oh, entirely.
And the whole thing is that, you know, they had a previous conversation that it was like she doesn't want to be with him while he's still being Batman, because he'll always choose that over anything else. And so she's like, once you put that to rest, maybe we can be together. And so Bruce is, like, clinging on to this idea. And then she's like, okay, well, obviously you're still being Batman, so that's your choice. So she gets with Harvey Dent, and he's, like, fucking spying on them. He's using his spy network to, like, to watch them and spy on them. But she's with Harvey Dent, and then basically she serves as being, like, the prisoner in this hostage trolley problem situation that we get, where it was like Harvey's in one location, Rachel's in another, and Joker says, Batman, you have to pick who you're going to save, but he switches the locations that he tells them. So Batman thinks he's going to Rachel, and he's really going to Harvey, and then the police think they're going to Harvey, but they're really going to Rachel, and then she just gets blown the fuck up.
Oh, yeah, it is brutal.
Joker says, you can't trick me, and he nukes her, and then that's what blows off half of Harvey Dent's face. But it's just such a bummer to me that she basically only serves as being this, like, unattainable girl for Batman, that she's this thing that, you know, he needs to be bigger than this, and he needs to do this for Gotham, and him, you know, succumbing to his personal desires and to be with her is the wrong choice, you know, in his eyes. And so that, you know, watching her move on is so painful for him because it's constantly reminding him of the choice he made, that he, you know, has to be this caped crusader, this Dark Knight. And that's just such a shitty thing for, I'm like, give her one personality trait or give her, she's like, she's Harvey Dent's like assistant district attorney. He's a district attorney, and she's like also a lawyer who works for him.
Which
so it's like he's her boss. It's I just give her something else. Like give her one thing to be unique to her. And she is not a character in the comics or anything. Christopher Nolan made her up for which there are not a ton of original characters across the Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy, but he made her up as this love interest, which I think just that's why it falls so flat, because the other in movie 3 we get a little more dynamics between Batman and the hot women around him, you know, Selena Kyle and
Miss Annie comes
Talia.
in.
But that's because they were existing characters before Christopher Nolan. Like the reason Rachel's so lame is because Chris Nolan wrote her.
Had to write it, No, I'll say it's just a shame too, because Maggie Gyllenhaal, there is like it's like 5 seconds that you get where she realizes that that Harvey's the one getting saved, really, and it's like a really and you know, you watch her figure out she's going to die basically, and it's heartbreaking and just it's great. And I wish that Maggie Gyllenhaal got a moment to shine more in this movie, because obviously I think all the men get their chance, and then she's, like you said, there to have violence done onto her. So yeah, just a shame.
And it's interesting to me that we get this, like, who are you going to save problem? And then it's like, okay. And then in the third act of the movie, it's like, we're going to do it again, but with boats. Which I'm like, I love that. See, no, I'm obsessed. He's like, here's another prisoner's dilemma. Here's another trolley problem for you, Batman. Which, that's the Joker's whole thing. I think that's at the core of who the Joker is as a villain, from my understanding. Is that he's playing tricks and he's being silly and funny. And that he's like, whoo, I set up a trap and you're going to fall into my trap.
Yeah. I mean, Heath really does. I mean, as sinister as it is, because it's all fucked. He does so much fucked shit in this movie, but he plays it so well that I'm like, I can't even be like, not mad about it, but you know what I mean?
Well, it's like, compelling. You're compelled by him. And you kind of want to see what he's going to do next. And no, there's that beautiful scene between him and Batman when he's finally in custody. The Joker is like, I don't want to kill you. You complete me, right? Like, it's this cat and mouse game. It's the game of it all. That's the point of it for me, not, you know, whatever this justice is. But I will say his Joker having this sort of moral goal of like proving that people are as evil as their worst moments. Like, it only takes one really bad day to turn someone completely
unhinged,
manic. And he does it with Harvey Dent, who, you know, more than a worst day, half your face gone worst day, fiance dead worst day. And he basically, it takes one conversation. The best moment of this whole fucking film is the Joker in the nurse costume. And then Harvey Dent is like, freaks out only when he takes the mask off.
It's so good.
So fucking funny. But basically one conversation with the Joker and you've turned totally villainous and you're like, I kill people on a 50-50 basis now, you know, chaos. We're gonna let chaos rule is sort of the theme of it. And I think before this movie, the Joker was just more random and chaotic and kind of silly in his villainry. And I think Heath Ledger's Joker trying to prove a point in this movie sort of set this precedent for future Joker-isms to be like, and he's trying to prove that we're all sick and fucked up in the head, and that's what the Joker's really doing. Where it's like, no, sometimes he's just doing jokes. Like, sometimes he's just setting trolley problems and doing jokes for Batman.
This is for him. Yeah.
And the actual chaos and unpredictability of it is the point, not him trying to reveal some deeper thing about the male psyche and what mental illness really is. Sure. You know what I mean? Because I think that's where the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie is totally lost me. That I was like, this is just not even a representation of the same character at this point.
Yeah. Speaking of picking between different things, though, should we get into a regularly scheduled program?
Right. I feel like for Fuck, Marry, Kill, is it Batman, Joker, Alfred, Batman, Joker, Harvey? Probably Harvey.
I kind of want to go. I mean, part of me says the love triangle, even though I know Rachel's a nothing character. But we can also we can do Batman, Joker, Harvey.
I think it's kind of morally unjust to put the Joker in there because it's like it can't get involved with that. That's actually too devious. So yeah, let's do Rachel maybe pre Two-Face Harvey. Do we want to say like politician Harvey? Yeah, and then Batman as he is. I could fix him. I'm gonna marry Batman because he's got those resources, honey, and we're gonna continue.
You would be really good at being rich like that.
I'm like, we're going to point our resources towards tearing down the surveillance state, not building it up. Yeah, Bruce. Well, you also he does have a sort of self-awareness about it, too, though, where it's like Lucius Fox, Morgan Freeman has this moment where he's like, I will help you this once, but after this, like, absolutely not. I feel so corrupt participating in this, which I thought was a good point for the movie to make, and does show us that Batman is aware, but that he's choosing for the good of for the greater good. He thinks it's a means to an end, right? Which is also, I think we're supposed to disagree with him and sort of push back on the quote unquote hard decisions that he's forced to make in this movie. Yeah. I'm gonna marry him.
I think that you could do really good stuff as well for the design of Wayne Manor.
Yes, design and style. So unfortunately, you really get the low end of this, having only seen movie 2, because Wayne Manor is not present in this movie. Wayne Manor burns down at the end of movie 1, and he's in this like penthouse, and his Batcave in this is like just an open like
concrete.
Yeah, like what would you even call
concrete barracks?
Like a warehouse. Yeah, it's just like a warehouse, an empty warehouse. Whereas in movies 1 and 3, you get Wayne Manor and the actual Batcave, which is the cave under Wayne Manor, and it's his dope fucking lair where he's got all his bat gear and stuff. So you miss out on that.
Maybe I will have to go back and do my due diligence and watch 1 and 3.
I don't think you deserve it, honestly.
Listen, maybe it'll change my perspective.
I don't know, because this is the best one. So if you don't like this one, I don't think
really
it's for you.
With me, dog. It was like, I don't know. I don't know
what to tell you. I think this movie won a cinematography Oscar that I would stand by. So
I'm sure.
Definitely disagree.
I don't know what it is. But
then Harvey Dent is just kind of gross as a guy to me, so I'll kill him and I'll fuck Rachel for sure, because I have no interest in district attorneys.
Don't hate the Harvey Dent character beforehand. I think he's obviously ambitious and probably, clearly you see the underside of him. I mean, you watch it. What is it when one of the Joker's cronies has like Rachel's name on, and she's been named and everything like that. And he like takes him into like a hostage situation. But I don't know. I preferred his character to Bruce in this movie, so I think I will. I'm gonna fuck Harvey Dent. Girl, I'm gonna kill Bruce. I don't need any of that. And then I'm gonna whisk Rachel away. We're getting out of Gotham. She can go prosecute somewhere else. And we're gonna go have a beautiful life away from these men.
I love that. And is it at the end of I love that scene, not Rachel, but Catwoman Selena Kyle, played by Zoe Kravitz in the new Batman. I love the end of the first movie where she's just like, she's getting out of here with her cats and her motorcycle.
Exactly.
I'm like,
real.
You get the idea, girl.
And then what do you eat and drink with this movie?
So first and foremost, not a food, but oral activity is I want to floss. Looking at the Joker, looking at inside of Heath Ledger's mouth so close in this movie so often, I literally went into my bathroom
made that shit yellow.
I flossed. I was like, my tongue started running along the inside of my teeth, and I was like, ew, 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 I gotta go floss.
Get me out of here.
So just do a nice deep oral hygiene cleanse before watching this movie so you can really feel correct about yourself. And I was looking at some like Joker cocktails, and I found a clever way, I think, to make anything purple is to just combine like a red juice and blue curacao. So like a cranberry juice and a blue curacao, and then you just add whatever else and it's purple. But then I was like, why would I want to drink to the Joker? And who in this movie would I actually want to celebrate and have a nice meal with? And that's Alfred, obviously. And he was talking about being, they called it Burma, but it's Myanmar now. But he has his whole jewel thief story, and he's talking about being like a British operative in Myanmar. And I was like, I'm going to take Alfred away from here, and we're going to go to South Asia. We're going to have a feast. That's who I want to spend my time with. And just yesterday, I know Thailand and Myanmar are separate countries, okay? But they're close to each other. So yesterday, I had a Thai tea slushie. I usually get, when I go get boba, Thai tea is my favorite if they have it. And I love to get the boba in the Thai tea. But I went to a Thai place that had Thai tea slushies. And it was amazing. I'm hooked. So I would want a Thai tea slushie with Alfred, and then I would bring him breakfast on a little tray because he's always bringing it to Bruce.
He deserves
I would make
that.
him up however he likes his eggs, and I would bring him with his Thai tea slushie that we're going to have on the beach. I'm going to bring him breakfast too and have a nice little tray breakfast.
That sounds really beautiful.
But this movie, I don't really want to eat. I'm kind of locked in. I am so immersed and locked in this movie
what
that
I say. No,
I'm not even really snacking.
Because here's my thing. Don't get me wrong. As much as like I've been kind of shitting on this movie, I was locked in the entire time. But I agree that it doesn't make me want to eat. I had a kind of a hard time picking something. I think this is a chip movie. Honestly, I like nibbles. I'm nibbling. I'm standard chip, and also at the same time, the only thing that I felt really strongly about, not that I like martinis, but obviously the big Joker scene at sort of Harvey's kind of dinner benefit thing. It's it's one of the biggest scenes in the movie. But I want to be sitting there with a martini in my hand, watching it. I'm one of the rich people.
When the Joker walks in and he like snatches a little fried hors d'oeuvre off of a tray and like shoves it in his mouth while giving his evil villain speech. I love that. I'm like, you get your coconut shrimp. I bet he's hungry. Again, exactly. I'm looking at that mouth.
He hasn't
eaten. Get some textures up in there to loosen some of that plaque.
But I think we keep it standard to just some nice wavy lays and a good filthy martini.
I don't think you could pay me to drink a martini. I think that would put me down. To follow this movie up, I saw somebody make a funny Letterboxd review where they made note that this movie was released on July 18th of 2008, as was Mamma Mia. So you can have your own original Barbenheimer, and you can do the Dark Mama. Maybe the Dark Mama combo. Which is really funny.
That's really good.
In truth, what I really want to watch after this is A Knight's Tale, The Dark Knight. Let's get a different knight. Let's get Heath Ledger to be the knight, and let's have him be sexy and on a horse. And I've been telling people, obviously, to watch A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, because it's got me reading the Game of Thrones books now. So I'm back in my GOT bag. But I've been telling anyone who will listen about the show. But I also have been saying to people, I'm like,
Melissa's watching it for the first time.
Game of Thrones?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God. I'll have to text her. I've been telling everyone about Knight of the Seven Kingdoms because I think it's so brilliant. But also I've been telling people, I'm like, oh, you know that Heath Ledger movie, A Knight's Tale? And people are like, no. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, first, but also if you liked A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms and you haven't seen A Knight's Tale, they are tonally very similar and spark the same sort of joy in my brain. And I don't know. I guess I just love jousting.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a great comparison to make, and I think you are right to give that suggestion. One of the things about the movie was that obviously I don't think Chris Nolan writes great dialogue, kind of similarly in the way that he doesn't write great women, or at least not back then. Maybe I think he did for like the Joker, but again, I think all of my shit with Bruce was really falling flat. I think that's my real qualm with this, as I don't like Christian Bale's portrayal at the end of the day, but I think I really like a lot of the other moving parts about this. But I just kind of want something a little more fun with some, I don't want to say better writing, but more characters that I enjoy, and fun action that doesn't take itself too seriously. And I think that Men in Black does that. So that's my bid.
The only part of Men in Black, I have only seen that movie when I was like too young to remember it, and the only thing I really recall other than Will Smith just being there is the opening sequence of like a fly, and it's like POV from a fly, and then he's like flying, and is he like a little spy fly or something, and then he smacks into a car windshield. Iconic opening sequence. And that's all I can recall about Men in Black.
But so what do you rewatching? Where does your rating land?
9. Yeah. I mean, 9? Obviously there are recognizable issues, but I will never not love this movie. I'll never not want to watch it either. This trilogy, I think I've watched 2 the most out of all of them, and probably 3 the least, but I've probably seen the whole trilogy like upwards of 10 times. I absolutely adore these movies, and they're what I want to return to when the state of superhero movies has me bogged down, when the Marvel MCU verse of it all really starts to make me feel dire about the current media landscape. At least I have my boxed set of The Dark Knight, and I can return to what I know.
There you go.
Works for me. So excited to celebrate DVDs this month. Get your Blu-ray player warmed up, because we're going to be dipping into our personal collections. I don't ever post on social media, so I don't know why I would say this, but like maybe we'll make little videos, because my DVD collection's pretty cute and has some good pulls from like my childhood and stuff.
I would say I also have a pretty, I'm getting my standard stuff going right now. I can't say I have more than like 20 DVDs, but I feel like I've got my staples.
I have multiple seasons of Lost, so that's all you need to know about me, really. Boxed sets, as is of the time. Somebody was like, I picked this up for free on the side of the road. Do you want this? And there were a bunch of box sets of Lost. And I was like, hell yeah.
You bet I do.
That's the best way to come across a DVD. Free on the side of the road. That's for me.
Exactly.
And thank you all for being here and supporting the show. Let us know what your favorite DVDs that you have are. Show us your collections and let us know what you think we should talk about in the future. Just Oscar stuff, specific movie suggestions, themes, chocolate or vanilla stuff. We couldn't have Jen on this week because of scheduling, but she will be back shortly. Continue on, persevere. And what's like another good quote from this movie to end you guys with? We can just flip a coin and find out if you live or die. All right, bye.